Shen.
Okay, we'll be doing the Gospel by Ryan Stevenson. So I'm going to run through the signs first for verses 1, the pre-chorus, verses 2, the second pre-chorus, and then the bridge, and then the outro. So first off, we're going to start with the signs. We're going to be doing a generation for the first line, a creative sign for me, and search. So it's going to look like this. A restless generation. The next line is turning over every stone. So we're going to go, we're turning over every stone. So the sign for turn over is flip over, flip back. Okay? So from search, which is your C hand 2 times circling in front of the face, we're going to go 1, 2. Tap twice, and then we're going to go to the next line, which is hoping to find salvation. So we're going to do the sign for hoping, or hope, and find, and salvation. So hope, things to note is this hand is higher, and there's a little bit of a grab here, but these 2 parts are flat. Okay? So hoping and find is just like you're picking something out. Okay? And this hand is a support, and that's how you would sign find. So it's the line is hoping to find, and then the sign for save starts here, and it opens straight out about little over shoulder width. Okay? So it's hoping to find salvation. Next sign is world. So you have your W hands, okay? And you're just going around like this. And this hand can move. It doesn't have to stay completely still. It can go around with it. Okay? And then the last sign for that verse is abandon, which is right here. Okay? So from the side, it looks like that. Okay? So the world abandons or discards. So we'll run through the whole verse 1. So a restless generation, we're turning over every stone, hoping to find salvation in a world that's left us cold. So the pre-chorus is, can we get back to the altar? We're going to do reach. So it's one hand out, and the other hand leaps forward into the other hand. So this is a reach, not like in a reach out and grab, but reach meaning to reach your destination, okay, to arrive. So can we get back to the altar? So that's the sign for altar. 2 flat hands and down, almost like a table with legs. Okay. And then we're going to do to reach again, back to the arms of our first love. So the signs we're adding here is his, meaning reference to God, and love. And there's only one way going up to the Heavenly Father. So the line is, can we get back to the altar? The next line is, back to the arms of our first love. There's only one way to the Father. And next line is calling out to us. So a couple of things. The call, I'm going to turn to the side a little bit. It's just takes this off. Almost like you're lifting off a receiver. Okay? So if you're summoning somebody, they might sign it like this. But because God is the one that's calling us, we're going out to him. So we're going at a slightly off the center, maybe like a 1 o'clock direction. And then we're doing a creative for us all. And so when you do this, extending out to the congregation or the audience, you want to do a quick 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock sweep. Okay? So just a little bit like that. Doesn't have to be a big sweeping motion like that, just 11 to 1. Okay, and that completes verse 1 and the pre-chorus. Okay, then we'll move on to verse 2. The first line for verse 2 is, it's the cure for our condition. So really our condition is that we're fallen, we're lost, and so the cure for that is salvation. So we're doing the sign for salvation, which is here and out. So it crosses over and out to little past shoulder width, and then we're doing the sign, again creative, much like this one was in the first line. We're doing it with both hands. So in other words, we're saved, all of us, okay? And the next line is, it's the good news for us all. So the gospel is with a G hand, which looks like that, okay? So it's going to go flat this way with the non-dominant hand flat, and it's just going to go over in a sweeping motion twice. Okay? So that's the sign for gospel. I believe that's actually an English sign. And then it's the good news for us all. So we're going to do that all again. And then the next line is, it's greater than religion. So we're going to do the sign for more. There's a couple of signs for more. The one we're going to do is this one. This is a little bit of creativity mixed in with the ASL sign. Literally, the ASL sign today is more like just that, like a lifting. But we really want to emphasize the more than. And then the sign for religion is the R hand, which looks like that in all the different angles. It's just crossing your fingers. It starts here by the heart and moves out. So it twists this way and moves out. Okay? So to go through the line, it's the cure for our condition. It's the good news for us all. It's greater than religion. Next sign is power. So this one we're going to do this way. We're going to hold, if you could imagine you're holding a staff or rod, and you're going to move it down. The whole thing is that it's kind of like, if you read the interpretation on it, it's like showing off your bicep, or that's kind of what the description of the sign is. So it's the power of the cross. Okay? And this cross is, of course, the cross of Christ. It's not you were crossed with somebody or you crossed the line. So it's the vertical beam and the horizontal beam. Okay? And the pre-chorus is, again, can we get back to the altar, back to the arms of our first love? There's only one way to the Father, and He's calling out to us. So that is the same. Okay? And then the bridge is, this is the last part here. In my own life, it means forgiveness. So we're going to do this, the same creative sign. Okay? So in my own life, it means, this is to have, to possess, forgiveness. So this is a bent hand that is like wiping a slate clean twice, 2 times. Okay? So in my own life, it means forgiveness when I know. So all you do is just a flat hand touches your temple, forehead portion, and we're going to do when I know I deserve the fall. It called me out of the darkness. We're going to do the sign for dark, and then we're going to do the sign for bright. Okay? So the meaning behind that is calling me out of darkness. So in other words, we're in darkness, but God's calling broke that darkness and gave us His light. Okay? Then the next one is in a moment. Oh, and I carried me to the cross. So once we come to called me out of the darkness and carried me to the cross. So we're going to do the cross again. And this carry is just like a lift, lifting from one position to another. So it's like laying it at the foot of the cross. And the next one would be, in a moment my eyes were open. So we're going to do the same sign again. In the moment my eyes were opened. So we're going to do the sign for awake. And it's just like this, if you can see the finger position, and it's just right near the ends of your eyes, and it's just an awakening, like to an L. And you extend out a little bit. Okay? So that's one thing you want to be mindful of, is to really not be afraid to do the motions bigger. When people interpret, it's typically in this box, because they can't be flailing all over the place with people trying to understand their interpretation of a message or a speech. But in worship, in sign dance, we can actually do the motions big, so that those who are seeing this can really see the heart behind it. Okay, so the next line is, in that moment my heart was changed. So the same sign here for I or me, and then the sign for change looks like one hook, okay, and it just crosses over like this, and it moves around like that. Sometimes we'll do it big to illustrate, something, a big change, but we're going to do it right over our heart, because that's what was changed. So in a moment my heart was changed. And then the next line is like a blinding light in the dead of night. So we're going to do a simple sign for light, and we're going to look to the left and down to indicate that it's blinding. And then in the dead of night, we're going to do the same sign we did earlier for bright. So this just comes kind of like this, where your hands are not fists, but they're pretty close together, and they open out, up and out. Okay? And then the last part is, it's the gospel. So like a blinding light in the dead of night, it's the gospel. And then it goes into the chorus, and then the last part is the outro, and that is only 3 signs. And so it will be, it's the gospel that makes a way. And if there's time, you can actually drop your hands and just keep looking up toward Christ. Okay, and that is the explanation of the whole song. So hopefully that will help.